So you're thinking of selling your prints. How much are you going to charge for them? That's what we're going to talk about in this video. If you want to sell your prints, if you want to sell your artwork, there's a lot of things you have to consider, but I do think that a lot of people price their prints far too low because they just don't think people will pay for it. The thing is, art is subjective, and so the amount that you think that your picture is worth is really all about personal preference. It's not entirely true that if you think that your art is worth 10 quid, that your art will be worth 10 quid. And there are people out there who might pay several £100s for it. There are people out there who might pay several thousand. So where do you want to go with your art? And how, if you're going to set up a store that's selling prints, how are you going to not only set a price, but justify that price, not necessarily to your customers, who would be willing to pay anyway, but to yourself? I think the first thing to remember is that selling isn't just about covering your costs. If you want to sell a print to somebody and all you're doing is covering your costs and postage and maybe $5 or $10 more for yourself, then you're not really selling a photo to make money. You're not really building a business. That's just giving away your stuff. It might not be free, but it's still a giveaway because you're not making money from it. You're not actually earning enough money to keep going. The time that it takes you to package or even to just order a print is so much more valuable to you than the money that you will get back from actually getting that print in. So you have to make sure that anytime you sell a print, you are making a decent enough profit to make it worthwhile, not just for your client, but for you as well. And this is why I like to think of the way that supermarkets work. If you're a supermarket, you will buy stuff from a manufacturer who buys stuff in order to manufacture their product. And typically, the thing that you are manufacturing, or that the manufacturer is manufacturing, will be priced at twice what the materials and time and energy costs for the person to make it. And the amount that the supermarket sells it for will be twice what they actually buy it for. So this isn't a bad thing to consider when you're pricing your prints. If your material costs and your cost to produce is X amount, then double that, and then you will get the price of manufacture. And then double that again, and you'll get the price of retail. Now, that might mean you look at that price and go, actually, that's far too much than what I want to sell this print for. And that really has to be with you. If you really struggle with selling for a lot of money, and I'm talking more than sort of $10, $15, but sort of like $100, $200, $500, then perhaps you want to do the formula a little bit better and say, well, I am the manufacturer, and so therefore I'm going to charge twice as much as my manufacturing costs, and that's going to be it. It all depends on how much you think your art is worth and how much you can justify selling your art for. But before you do that, before you decide on that, it's important to understand a few things. First of all, you want to find out what other people are charging, because if you're charging so much less than them, then your product isn't going to be seen as a valuable resource. If you're charging so much more than them, and yet you've set yourself up as an exclusive art dealer or dealer of your art, then that's a different prospect, and people will still buy that. It's just that fewer people will buy it. However, if it works out for you, you will likely make more money from it. But it's important to remember that it's not just your profile as a photographer that makes your pictures worth a certain amount of money. It doesn't matter how many followers you've got on Instagram or on Twitter or on Facebook. That's not important. There are photographers out there who make absolutely bags of money, thousands and thousands and thousands for every single shot that they sell. Now, often they're selling commercial photography, or they're selling photography into commercial spaces. But nonetheless, there's still people out there whose pictures are worth thousands, and the chances are you've never heard of them. the chances are that they probably don't have a social media profile, or if they do, it's not a particularly big one. Because whilst they might be very well known in their industry and with the clients that they serve, they're not necessarily very well known to the general public or to the social media public. The other thing it's important to think about is what extra does it cost for any extra things. Now, a lot of people would like to sign all of the prints that they produce, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It adds value to the product that you're putting out. But if you're getting your prints printed somewhere and then shipped to you, and then they have to be shipped on to somebody else, the cost of doing that is going to increase. And it doesn't just increase by the cost of repackaging and reposting the print. It also costs more because of your time actually taking that photo and signing it and having to do all of the packaging up and the addressing and the taking it to a postal office or yes, one of those postal office places, the post office. Yes. So you have to understand how all of that is going to impact your price. You also have to understand how other expenses probably should impact your price as well. If you're doing advertising, what is your advertising cost going to be? If you're doing advertising and selling 10 prints, then you split your advertising cost by 10 prints. And so that is your impact on profit from that particular advertising campaign. How much does that cost? What about product listings? What about, any sort of outreach that you're doing? What cost to you is social media that may get you a couple of sales, but at the same time is zapping time and energy away from you doing other things like making videos or watching telly? Ultimately, your final price should be at least twice what you're paying to create the thing and the time and energy that you're taking to create the thing. That's how you get a profit on what you're selling. It's not just selling it for a few bucks more than you're charging. Then you're being charged. Sorry. If you do that, then ultimately you're never going to make money selling your prints at all. And perhaps at some point I will do more videos on how to sell prints, where to sell prints, how to do the advertising of it. But for now, if you're thinking of going down this path, pay real attention to what's going on in the world around you. What are other people charging? What are they getting away with charging? Because sometimes they're charging an awful lot more than you might think that their photography is worth. Who are their clients? How much are their clients paying? Because you want to make sure that you are somewhere in that spectrum, that you fall somewhere in that range of prices that you can afford. It doesn't mean that if you think that your prints are worth, I don't know, $1,000 each, you can't sell them for $1,000 each. What it does mean is that you might be in the wrong space if you're going to sell them on a particular platform. However, that's probably for another video. I'm going to leave it there for today. I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope it's been useful for you, and I hope if you have been thinking about selling your prints that you might actually get out there and do it now. I've absolutely no idea whether you've done this before or not, but if you have and you have any other advice that you think people might learn from, please do leave it in the comments below and let me know, of course, what you think about the whole video. I love to get comments from you. Until next time, thanks ever so much for watching. Please do, of course, subscribe, hit the little subscribe button, click the bell icon at the end, and click the all notifications button that comes up. And if there's anybody that you think might like this, then please do share this video around on your social media channels. Let everybody know about it, because that really, really will help the channel more than anything else that you could do other than subscribing. Those two things, those are the things that are really important. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. And of course, until next time, keep taking those printing those pictures. Keep pressing the button with the shutter and the flash, and all of a sudden you've got a picture on the screen. Bye, everybody.